Today, our focus is going to be adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators, where the denominators are different. I want you to think of the saying, you can't compare apples and oranges. They're two totally different fruits. Same thing with fractions. You can't compare fractions with different denominators because they're totally different. So our goal is to create equivalent fractions, fractions that are equal to 4/7 and 1/3, that have the same denominator. The first step, whenever we notice that the denominators are different, we want to stack them. And you'll see why that makes our job a lot easier later on. So I need to find a number that is a multiple of both 3 and 7. So I'm going to find the least common multiple of 3 and 7 so that I can use that to create my equivalent fractions. We call that the least common denominator, and we complete that by finding least common multiple. Now I can use the cake method from what I've learned previously. So basically with the cake method I have to see if there's a number that goes into both 3 and 7 evenly. Since there is only one, the number 1, in order to find the least common multiple of these two numbers, we multiply them together. Okay, when their only shared factor is 1, we multiply them together to find the least common multiple, which happens to be 21. 21 is the lowest number that both 7 and 3 go into. Now I'm going to use this information to create equivalent fractions. Okay, so basically what I'm doing is I'm trying to create a fraction that's equal to 4/7 and equal to 1/3 that have 21 as my denominator, because then I'm comparing apples and apples, and as we know from our previous lesson, that makes life a lot easier. So basically what I do is I see how I get from here to here. What did I do to get from 7 to 21? I multiplied by 3. 7 times 3 gives me 21. Now, whatever I do to the denominator, I must also do to the numerator. So I get 4 times 3, and that gives me 12. Basically, what I've done is I've created an equivalent fraction to 4/7 with 21 as a denominator. 12/21 is equal to 4/7. They have the same value. If I simplified 12/21, I would actually get 4/7. Now we're going to do the same thing with our second fraction. How did I get from 3 to 21? I multiplied by 7. Whatever I do to the denominator, I must also do to my numerator, and I get 7 as my numerator. So 1/3 as an equivalent fraction with 21 as a denominator, or that bottom number, is 7/21. They have the same value. Once again, if I simplified 7/21, I would get an answer of 1/3. They have the same value. So now I'm going to take my new fractions that have the same denominator and use that to add or subtract. In this case, subtract. And once again, we know from our earlier lesson that that's a little bit easier. So I have 12/21 minus 7/21. When I'm subtracting fractions with like denominators, where they're the same, the denominator stays the same in our answer, and we subtract the numerators. 12 minus 7 is 5. So we have our answer of 5/21. But we also want to remember our last step is to simplify. So we have to see if we can simplify 5/21. Is there any number that goes into both 5 and 21 evenly? The only one is the number 1. When that is the case, we know our fraction is already in simplest form.